The Giants get a sweep over the Friars. Both games go extras. The Giants do win it 3-2. This is Giants Roundup on a Tuesday, July 31st. This is also MLB non-waiver trade deadline day on Giants Roundup. You can follow on Twitter, join the Crook and Kite page on Facebook. Most importantly, please be kind and hit that subscribe button. And yes, the Giants are back over 500 today. They are now 55 and 54 on the season. And the Giants were very quiet at the deadline. No trades were made. But we do have a lot of other teams who made trades today. Tony Watson gets the win for the Giants. He goes to 4-4 on the year. Phil Maton takes the loss. Will Smith gets his 6th save out of 6 save ops on the season. And now it's on to Arizona after this. Evan Longoria goes 2 for 5. Brandon Crawford 2 for 5. Not a lot of offense. And then Derek Rodriguez, 7 strong innings, 3 hits, strikes out 7, 3 walks. And this kid's only going to get better next year. Could you imagine? Could he be a future ace? I certainly think when it comes next season, Derek Rodriguez could be your number 2 guy in the starting rotation. And not a good outing out of Reyes Maranta. One of those days where it happens. He walks 2. So he just had one of those wild, ineffective days. That's okay. Maranta's mortal. And it did start with a double by Eric Hosmer. It scores Will Myers 1-0 Friars. Then the Giants get on the board in the top of the 4th with a sacrifice by Gorkas. It scores Austin Slater 1-1. And then Andrew McCutchen hits his 11th home run of the year. It makes it 2-1 Giants. So certainly McCutchen didn't get traded today, but I certainly think he could have some value on the waiver wire during the waiver trade period in August. He won't bring you back a top prospect, but he certainly could get you a mid-level prospect or so, maybe 2. The Giants could use a few pitching prospects. But then Maranta blows it in the bottom of the 8th. Margot grounds into a fielder's choice. It scores Perella 2-2. That's what we'd be in the 10th inning. And then Brandon Crawford singles to right. It scores Evan Longoria. And that would be your final 3-2 Giants in 10 innings. And the Giants will now head to the desert for a 4-game series against the Snakes, with them being 5 out of the division. Let's see where they are as in terms of the wild card. And as in terms of the wild card, the Giants are also 5 back of the wild card at this moment. And if the season were to end today, it would be Boston playing the winner of Seattle and the Yankees in the first round. Cleveland would play Houston in the first round of the ALDS. In the National League, Chicago would play the wild card winner of Milwaukee and Arizona. And Philadelphia would travel to LA for the first game of the ALDS. Atlanta just a half a game back in the wild card. Colorado just a half a game back. Pittsburgh 3.5 games back. St. Louis 4 games. Giants 5 games. Nationals 5.5. And the only other team really in the race in the AL wildcard are the Oakland A's at 62 and 46. They are 2 games back of the wild card at this moment. And the rest of the games, no scores yet. But yeah, Giants just decided to stand pat here at the trade deadline. No surprise there. I think they will maybe move somebody like Dyson. They'll probably put on waivers. Sam Dyson will probably go on revocable waivers. Andrew McCutcheon's is a likely candidate to get placed on waivers. You can still make trades in the month of August. They just have to clear waivers. And if a team claims that player on waivers, then that team has to negotiate with that team on potentially a trade. Last year, the big waiver trade was Justin Verlander. But certainly, I think the Giants will maybe move a couple minor pieces, maybe Holland on waivers. We'll see where the rest of the season pans out there. And of course, the Giants could look to get rid of some dead weight on waivers. Somebody like Josh Osich could go on waivers. I don't think Osich is going to be back with. I think Osich ran his course with the Giants, and I don't think they have any interest in retaining Josh Osich. So I think Osich will get moved through waivers. And if nothing else, will be DFA'd after sometime in August. And they're certainly going to need to make some waiver trades, or else they're not going to be able to make any September call ups without them going into the CBT threshold. They're only $300,000 out of under the CBT, and they are going to need to maybe trade a Dyson or trade a McCutcheon to free up cash to simply call up people for September. I don't think there's going to be a lot of call-ups in September, as I've said. I think maybe Tyler Rogers gets added to the 40-man roster. You might see Derek Law come back. Maybe Stephen O'Kurt. Pierce Johnson will probably come back. And maybe they purchase the contract of Trevor Brown and have him up for the. But I don't expect a big number of call-ups. You could also potentially see Tyler Beatty get placed on waivers here, as he's just not worked out in Sacramento this year. And Beatty could be one that could certainly be a waiver wire candidate, and maybe a change of scenery would be good for Tyler Beatty. He's not been great. So we'll see what happens there. Hello, Azofer. Good to see you today. So those are some waiver candidates there. You never know. Nick Hundley, you could always get maybe something for him. But now the Giants, but sweeping the Padres is no real big thing. San Diego has lost 7 games in a row. They are 18.5 out of the division. I was a little surprised that Kirby Yates was not traded today. I was also kind of surprised Craig Stammen wasn't traded. Neither was Tyler Ross. Certainly, I think those are 3 names you could watch on the waiver wire here in the month of August. But I think it gets interesting with Andy Green. Will he be managing for his job next season? That's going to be a big question there with Andy Green. And certainly San Diego, they missed the boat on Chris Archer. We'll get that later on in the trades. Yeah, I'm happy Longoria's back too. I'm hoping he can at least get his average up a skosh here in the final stretch here. But I certainly think San Diego's at a point where they will certainly look to be active this free agency. They could be one that could be after Manny Machado. They'll be after maybe trading for potentially Jacob deGrom or Noah Syndergaard in the winter meetings this year. There will certainly be a lot of names available in that. But let's go to why I mainly came on here for today. The trades of today. And there were a lot of trades at this year's trade deadline. We are going to start off with a trade that I was kind of surprised was made by the St. Louis Cardinals today. Tommy Pham traded to the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Rays sent Genesis Cabrera, Justin Williams, and Roel Ramirez to St. Louis. I kind of think this was a trade more made clear clear some money to potentially sign some guy named Bryce Harper this offseason. Maybe the Cardinals have some aspirations to get him as part of a retool this offseason in St. Louis. I totally wouldn't be surprised if that happens. And I think we'll see if Pham can bring fans to the seats in Tampa Bay. And for St. Louis, I think there's a couple guys they will look to move through the waiver wire. Bud Norris and Jose Martinez could be two candidates to be moved through the waiver wire as they're getting ready to go through a youth movement, as the Cardinals actually did quite a bit of selling here at this year's trade deadline. And then Cleveland made a trade for Lenoyce Martin with the Detroit Tigers, and then Willie Castro goes back, and Kyle Dowdy will go to Detroit. And that certainly helps with the outfield situation in Cleveland if they want to win a round. In Seattle, the Mariners made a trade for Cameron Maybin to add some outfield defense, and Bryson Brigman and international pool money is being sent to Miami in that trade. And it definitely bolsters the corps of the outfielding core for the Mariners. And then the D-backs reunite with Brad Ziegler. He's traded to the D-backs, and Tommy Eveld goes to the Marlins in return. And Ziegler will definitely help fit in with Brad Boxberger and Archie Bradley in the late inning situations for the Diamondbacks in that trade. The Phillies acquire Wilson Ramos from the Tampa Bay Rays for cash considerations and a player to be named later. So that helps Alfaro. Will probably platoon with Ramos in the squat. And the Cubs acquire Brandon Kintzler, and Johan Romero goes to DC in that trade. And he does have a club option for next season, so we'll see how that works out there. Not exactly the bullpen piece the Cubbies were looking for to bolster the bullpen, but they'll take it. The Phillies acquire Aaron Loup from the Toronto Blue Jays, and Jacob Waguespack goes to Toronto in return in that trade. And the LA Dodgers acquire John Axford from the Toronto Blue Jays. Corey Copping will be going to Toronto. Axford will help out being the setup man for Kenley Jansen. And then one of the bigger surprise trades of the day happened in Pittsburgh today. The Pirates acquire Chris Archer. That's right. Chris Archer finally gets traded out of Tampa Bay. He goes to Pittsburgh. Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow go back to Tampa Bay in the trade, and a third player to be named later. And he will certainly be the ace of this Pirates rotation that includes Musgrove and Nova. And looks like the Pirates are actually going to make a run for the postseason this year with that trade for Chris Archer. And then Atlanta makes a big trade today with the Braves trading Kevin Gossman and Darren O'Day with Juan Carlos, Jean Carlos Encarnacion, Brent Cumberland, Evan Phillips, and Bruce Zimmerman, and $2.5 million of international bonus money. Going back to Baltimore, this was a good trade for Atlanta, and it really solidifies the rotation, and it likely moves Anibal Sanchez to the bullpen. And Gossman will definitely be a key asset in the playoff push for the Atlanta Braves. The Milwaukee Brewers trade for Jonathan Schoop for Jonathan Villar and Gene Carmona. And Luis Ortiz will be the prospects going back to Baltimore. So Baltimore, grade A for all the trades they've made. They got rid of a lot of what they needed to trade here at the deadline. I don't know if it's going to save, if it's too little too late to save Dan Duquette's job, but great job fire sailing the team. You've set yourself up for a rebuild. It'll be some tough years in Baltimore, but the future's brighter. And Chris Young could be a guy you could watch on the waiver wire here at the trade deadline. And then the final trade of the day, the Dodgers acquire Brian Dozier from the Minnesota Twins for Logan Forsythe, Luke Raley, and Devin Smeltzer. And Dozier will definitely help the second base corps. And we'll see what happens with. It'll likely be that Muncy will play off the bench, or Cody Bellinger plays more outfield. We'll see what happens with that, but it's meaning the Dodgers are going all in this year. And no, it does not mean that they're all done making trades. I think there will be a lot of moves being made here at the through the waiver trades with a lot of teams. Oakland almost got Mike Fiers today in a trade with Detroit that fell through. I certainly think Oakland's going to be active here at the waiver wire, whether it's Matt Harvey, whether it's Tyson Ross, maybe James Shields. I think James Shields will probably be put on waivers. And with Shields, if he does not get claimed off of somebody, I think they just eat his contract and he pitches for a contender for the league minimum. I think James Shields will be placed on waivers. Marco Estrada will probably be a waiver candidate. I certainly think there'll be a lot of waiver trades here. Maybe you see Gio Gonzalez on revocable waivers. But I certainly think the A's will get somebody on the waiver wire. We'll see how long it takes. And then Jordan Zimmerman, Detroit's going to probably look to move him on waivers. You'll see probably Josh Donaldson on waivers when he returns from injury. So stranger things have happened. Of course, remember Justin Verlander was a waiver wire acquisition. And games currently in progress. The Phillies lead the Red Sox 1-0 bottom of the second. The Cubs and Pirates no score bottom third. Is that right? Yeah, 10-0 Nationals in the bottom of the second inning. Steven Matz pulled after 2/3 of an inning pitched. Tanner Rourke, good thus far. He could be a waiver candidate. Matz could be one that I could see going on the waiver wire too. Dave Bruce is another name that could be on the waiver wire for the Mets. I think the Mets are going to need to tear it down to the bolts at this point. In the Bronx in the second inning, the Yankees currently lead the Orioles 1-0. Rays lead the Angels 1-0 middle third. Top of the fourth in Detroit, no score. Rest of the games start later. Weather delay in Atlanta. And as I say, now it's on to Arizona for the Giants. And the probables for that series will be and game one will be Madison Bumgarner against to be determined for Arizona. And then game two on Friday will be likely Chris Stratton against to be determined. And then Saturday to be determined and Sunday to be determined. And then they go back home after that. They will start a 2-game homestand against Houston. Then they play Pittsburgh. This will conclude it for now. We'll do more of. I might come on Periscope a little later tonight and do just more of a BS about more of an open bar session of the trades and more of a trade discussion show later tonight. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a good Tuesday. We'll be back Thursday night. Everybody have a wonderful day. Keep cool out there. Also, I want to wish Therese Vignal, the who co-hosts Giants Outsiders, also is the ballpark host at AT&T Park. She started her maternity leave today. I hope to see her back before the regular season ends. Good luck, Good luck with the baby, and you'll make a great mother in the world. And Grant, and pick me. I'll fill in for you while Grant. I'll keep Grant in check while you're at it. Just kidding, but have a great one. Enjoy your maternity leave, and then we're getting progress on the car fire, and all the wildfires in California. We're going to have some cooler weather coming in. That's definitely going to help the firefighting efforts. Hopefully, some more sea breeze coming in. So, hope springs eternal on that, and just take a moment to think about the victims in Redding and Yosemite and all that. It's been a very dangerous fire season thus far. So tip of the day, keep your home clear of vegetation. Only you can prevent wildfires. You have a good afternoon. Goodbye.